Welcome to the Be Bold podcast. I'm Beth Whitman. Hey, before I get started, I wanted to let you know that there are just a couple of Be Bold bracelets left for Patreon supporters. For $5, you can join the Be Bold community, and the first 10 supporters will receive a Be Bold bracelet, but there are just a couple left. Being a supporter will get you access to special audio content and one of those Be Bold bracelets. And as the community builds, I know I'll have other special treats for you as well. So go to patreon.com/bebold for details. So here we are, December 31st. The end of the year is always a time for reflection. And it seems like, try as I might, that feeling of having space at the end of the year has all but gone away. It used to be that things slowed down, email and that sort of thing, slowed down, and I was able to just really have some time to put away the laptop and reflect on things. And I don't think I'm alone in having this feeling. As a matter of fact, just last night I was speaking with someone about how that space has all but disappeared for her as well. And I thought that it was just my business or that it was unique to me. But, having spoken to this friend of mine, I am pretty sure that you feel that same way as well. I just can't shake the feeling that there are so many more things in front of me, and that space, that breathing room just isn't there like it used to be. Now, when I think about this, I can't help but tie this feeling in with something someone said to me earlier this year. She's part of the Be Bold Facebook group, and that's where women often chime in to talk about the bold things they are doing or to give support to others who are breaking out and doing new things and want to give a shout out about it. In an email, this friend said something about wanting to unbold. And when I asked her about this further, she said that for her, it meant becoming a quote-unquote regular type. And I'm going to guess here that she meant it was about accepting herself as this, again, quote, regular person, and that she didn't want to pretend she was being bold when she really wasn't feeling it. And I totally respect this. And I think I understand where she's coming from. If I had to compare it to anything, I'd say it's probably a version of FOMO, the fear of missing out. In other words, there is a lot of societal pressure to be outstanding, to be better than or more fun than, more beautiful than the person next to you. And just one look at social media and you can see that. And hey, I'm not totally immune to this myself. I rarely post cranky or negative things because, for one, who wants to read that, right? Just puts everybody in a bad mood. And two, I'm not looking for other people to jump on my bandwagon of negativity. So I try to stick to the positive. And when someone sees my post or goes on my feed on Facebook or Instagram, I want them to be able to feel good. But I can see how the pressure of always trying to be bold, especially if you are in a situation where you aren't feeling bold or perhaps things aren't going the way that you want them to, I can see how you might want to turn the other way and just be unbold, as my friend said. Now, I suppose all that is to say that first and foremost, I hope people are true to themselves. And interestingly enough, that was a really common answer from many of my guests these past 70 plus episodes. When I asked them what it meant for them to be bold, they often said it was being true to yourself. So yeah, if being bold in a given situation doesn't feel right for you, then don't be bold. Or if you're going through a time in your life when you feel like you just need to retreat for a bit, then do so. And that's where I think this feeling of never having breathing space and recognizing that and honoring it is so important. For me, this white space, I'll call it, is no longer here naturally. It's not just occurring. There are still a gazillion things coming at me. So I have to be true to myself, maybe even be unbold, and maybe take a step back. But I'd encourage you, and I'll do this for myself, I'd encourage you to ask yourself why you are being unbold and make sure that the reason isn't because you're hiding. And I'm not saying at all that that's what my friend is doing. I could just see how if you are prone to being shy or unmotivated or unassertive or fearful or even just plain lazy, because we are all prone to that at some point, I could see how you could use it as an excuse. And no doubt we all go through bouts of all of those things. But don't let yourself get stuck in a mode and just say that that's the way you are and accept it. As I reflect back on my conversations with women this past year as part of the podcast, there are so many special moments and bits of inspiration that I gleaned. Every conversation was really just an opportunity for me to learn about myself, and I absolutely loved it. But there is one conversation that has really stuck with me, and that's my conversation with Pam LeBlanc, and that's episode 72. Pam dubbed 2017 her year of adventure, and she sought out, to paraphrase Eleanor Roosevelt, the things she thought she could not do. Now, she was writing for the Austin American-Statesman newspaper while she was doing this year of adventure. So she had access to some things that you and I might not, like rappelling down a 38-story high-rise in Austin, and she was in a Wonder Woman costume. But she also ran a naked 5K. And you don't really need anything special. Well, I guess you would have to have the race actually designated as naked, because you don't want to just go out and do a naked 5K without it being sanctioned. But if there's a 5K near you, run it naked if it's a naked 5K. Or just get dressed up in a Wonder Woman costume. Or if you're not a runner, go walk it and just do something fun. Just think a little bit creatively. You get my point. There are things that you can do to challenge yourself. And just by having that conversation with Pam, it made me realize there are ways that I could get my brain thinking a little bit differently about making life more interesting, more rewarding, I think even more fun. Now, I've told myself for years there were things I couldn't do, like start a travel business or become a runner. And obviously both of those things I've now done. What I did at the time was I turned those things around to say, how can I start a travel business? How can I become a runner? And just changing the language that little bit gave me a new perspective and helped me look at things differently and how I can move forward in a more positive manner. Now, after talking to Pam, I realized I do that a lot more frequently than I realized. I tell myself the things that I'm not. I say things like, I don't have a green thumb. I hate swimming in cold water. I don't like to cook. And so after speaking with her, I realized, what if every time I told myself one of those stories, what if I just changed the language and said, maybe I do have a green thumb. Why can't I swim in open water that's cold? Why not get creative by cooking with all those spices in your cabinet that you've been bringing back from your travels? Now, I don't think I have to do all of those things, but I think I can start challenging myself on a daily basis and stop telling myself stories about the small things. You know, one of my favorite movies of all time is Yes Man with Jim Carrey. I watch it once a year just to get a dose of he and Zooey Deschanel. And if you haven't seen it, you must, because it's a great reinforcement in terms of a way of looking at life, saying yes rather than coming up with all the reasons why you might say no. And really, often it comes down to laziness. We just get into a rut and we decide, and really sometimes it's not even a decision, it's just easier to get lost in our phone or to spend time searching for something to binge watch. It's just the lazy way out. Meanwhile, you could be spending time with friends. You could be at the gym, or you could be out for a walk, or you could be figuring out a way to jump off a 10-meter diving board like Pam LeBlanc did during her year of adventure. Now, I get that not everyone feels bold all of the time, but I asked the listeners to call in and share their stories. So I wanted to know what was going on out there in your world. And I wanted to hear these bold moves for 2018. I got some great responses, and I'm going to play those now because I think you'll find some inspiration in them. First, here's Robin, who made literally a bold move. She left the country, and she is establishing residency elsewhere.
Hi, Beth. This is Robin Harwick calling from Michoacan, Mexico. As you know, my bold story for 2018 was deciding to live in Mexico. We recently applied for residency here, and I've been busy writing my first young adult novel and finishing research projects, homeschooling my son, and traveling all around. We've been to, I think, 11 or 12 states in Mexico so far, and we live in one of the most beautiful areas of the world. It's an unknown, unspoiled treasure so far. So, anyway, that's what's happening now, and who is to know what's going to happen next. I look forward to talking to you soon and keeping in touch. Bye.
Can you imagine selling your house, picking up and moving to another country? I'm so excited for Robin and her husband. That is so awesome. I know she's going to have an amazing time. And Robin, I guess I should come visit you in Michoacan. It would be great. I should say that many of these women who responded and left these messages, it was when I gave a shout out on the Be Bold Facebook group. There's more than 2,000 women in that group. And if you're not already a part of it, I encourage you to join because there's some really great stuff going on over there. So the next listener, Rosemary, she also did something that was bold. She went on a solo journey that sounds pretty fantastic.
Hi, Beth. This is Rosemary Nelson. I get your emails, and I was calling to tell you that what I've done this year to be bold was that I walked coast to coast across Scotland by myself. I followed the John Muir Way. It was great fun. Thanks.
I'd love to know more about that journey, Rosemary. It sounds amazing. Next up, I have Lynn. I've watched Lynn through our Be Bold Facebook group and have seen all the amazing things that she's doing for people with mental illness. You'll hear how she struggles herself. Now, the thing is that not only is Lynn struggling with mental illness herself, which she freely admits, which I think that in itself is a really bold move, but I am just so full of love for her because she is going many steps beyond, and she's just coming out and talking about this in order to help other people. And that is the key here, just of service to others. And she's just doing it in such big ways. Here is Lynn.
Hi, Beth. This is Lynn Bango. You wanted us to call, tell you our people. So this year, I started doing work with the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's a grassroots mental health organization nationwide. I live with bipolar disorder, type 1, social anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and obsessive compulsive disorder. I've started going into high schools to speak to students, faculty, and parents, as well as going out into the community to speak, to educate and try to work on stigma, as well as start a blog for it and hope to let people know that it's okay to talk about it. Thanks. Bye.
She's just great. Lynn, thank you so much for all that you do for just the individuals that you're touching and then these big groups of people that you're speaking to as well. Now, Jamie took what she felt like was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, a once-in-a-lifetime trip, although I hope it wasn't. But here's what she did in 2018.
Hi, Beth. My name is Jamie. This summer, I spent a week in Japan with my longtime friend from college. I never thought I'd make it to Asia, so this was possibly a once-in-a-lifetime adventure for me. We got to watch some kabuki theater, we participated in a tea ceremony, and we really enjoyed the Studio Ghibli Museum. Anyway, I just want to thank you for encouraging us to be bold, and happy holidays to you and yours.
Thanks for sharing that, Jamie. I do hope you get back to Asia. There's just some amazing things to see there throughout all of Asia. It's just an incredible region. That's kind of cool, isn't it, to hear from the community like that? I hope you enjoyed that and found some inspiration in what other people are doing. A really, really big heartfelt thank you to all of those women who called in to let us know what you've done this year and for sharing that. I was thinking about my own year and how to define being bold. And I think only we can know in our heart of hearts when we're being bold and when we're just letting things unfold because we're allowing inertia to get the better of us. Or I don't know, maybe it's the lack of creativity or a combination of the two. In some ways, I think my bold moves were the decisions to not do things, to take a step back a little bit and make choices about how I really want to move forward. So I described it to someone recently as I'm pulling back so that I can move forward in a bigger way. And specifically, I'm talking about some changes with the tours that I lead, but also just in little things as well. This year, I made a suggestion to my family in New Jersey that we not give gifts this year. And I think that there was a little, maybe even a big sigh of relief from everyone to take off that bit of pressure and just instead just enjoy spending time with each other. And I felt like that was a bit of a bold move because it was a change for the family. We did something completely different. And I think everybody had a great time. I already know that there's going to be a lot more adventure in 2019 for me. And although tomorrow is January 1st, and I know that I should be super committed to this at this point, I think I'm going to do the polar bear plunge and jump into the Puget Sound with about 500 people down on Alki Beach here in Seattle. Now, the past 2 years, I've supported John in doing it, and I've told myself, like, no way, I hate cold water. I do not like going into it at all. And then I just realized after talking to Pam that is a story that I'm telling myself and that I can change that narrative. So I don't know, I'll report back here on the next episode, but also look for me on social media, on Facebook, and see if I've actually done it. I might wimp out. I don't know. Actually, right now I'm looking outside and there is frost covering all of the rooftops and the cars. So if it's this cold tomorrow, it'll be kind of interesting. Back to my bold 2019. For Christmas, John signed me up for coaching with Sabrina Sayer, running coaching. And she was on an episode, it was episode 43 if you want to go back and listen to that. And she's totally inspiring. She's kick-ass, and she is a can-do woman. So I know that I'm in for some big challenges in working with her, and that likely includes attempting to shave off more time on my marathon qualifying time for Boston. Now, I also joined the gym about a month ago, and I've started swimming. So I think that a triathlon is in my near future. And then come September 2019, I'm running the Epic 5 in Hawaii. That's 5 ultra marathons, 50K, so 31 miles, in 5 days on 5 Hawaiian islands. So 5 ultra marathons, 5 days, 5 Hawaiian islands. There's likely a research trip to Morocco that I'll be taking. And then I know that I'm heading to India for one of my tours in February. I'm going a little bit early to do some research for future trips. I'll probably go back to India later this year for some research for the Hornbill Festival, which is a big tribal festival in India. So I think it's fair to say I've got some bold things coming up for the next year. But I'm also going to spend some time in the garden to see if I can improve my green thumb, and I will report back on that too. That's it for today's episode. Just checking in. Little short episode here to let you know what's going on. End of year wrap up. Looking forward to 2019. Looking for some space. It's kind of nice that January 1st is in the middle of the week, so I'm going to just pretend that I'll still be working this week, but I'm going to just spend a little bit more personal time in reflection for the rest of the week as well. If you would like to share with me your bold moves of the past, you can still do that. Or you want to talk about your aspirations for 2019, you can call 877-280-5170. I'll add that phone number in the show notes as well. leave a message for me. You can even ask a question, and I'll feature that and my answer to it on a future episode. That's been fun. I've done that in the past. That's it for today's episode. I will be back either next week or the following one with more great conversations. I'm going to be recording this month with some ladies in Portland, and I think I'm heading down to California as well to catch up with some ladies down there. So you're in for some real treats. That's all I'm saying. So Happy New Year to you all. Be safe. Very importantly, be safe, but also be bold.